All right, I'm waking up. Let's get in the frame of mind. All right, so we're going to change some of these panels. As you can see, we can change one in Revit. I have Escape open up. I have 4 days left on the trial. I find Escape is really quick rendering engine. It's pretty intuitive, and there's not too many bells and whistles, so I have no problem with it. It's really easy to use, and it keeps it all under one roof. You don't need to run it to 14 different platforms. So I like the intuitiveness of that plugin. Excuse me. I'm most likely going to buy it. I'm sold. I'm definitely sold on Inkscape. I find it to be compatible. All right. So just zoom out all of your viewports. Again, let me undo this, and we'll do all the panels at once. We'll do all the panels at once. All right, so if you tab, if you can get to the panel and tab, right mouse click, select panels along a horizontal grid, we'll get all 6 of them, as you can see in the front elevation. We'll get all 6, and if you unpin them, we'll be allowed to change them all at once. So if we go to the type selector, under the system panel family type, we have 2 choices, glazed and solid. So if you look at the glazed parameters really quick, you'll see this makes a huge difference as to the overall energy calculations of the building, because of the parameters and the properties of light and heat and wind. So let's change this to solid, and you'll see there's a default material, and for the analytical purposes, it's just metal and it has thermal properties. That if we look at the difference, are different from the glazed panel. The metal's more resistant, and there's there's more the heat transfer coefficient is higher. Okay, so just make a note of that in the back of your head. You're going to be working with engineers. You can't dismiss that as fact of life. Engineers, excuse me, they're funny types of folks. They're funny types of folks. All right, so we're getting through this today. Customizing curtain grid segments. In the last part of this exercise, you will practice the techniques for adding or removing segments of curtain grids to refine your curtain wall design. One important fact, this is for BIM managers. One important fact to remember when working with curtain grids is that they are always implied across the extent of the curtain wall. When we say they're implied, we mean that they are not necessarily expressed on all panel elements. In other words, although a panel grid is always expressed from one end of the wall to the other, you can decide whether the grid divides every panel it crosses. To become more familiar with this technique, you will add a curtain grid at the midpoint of the right center panel and delete the division between the 2 panels to the left of the added grid as shown in figure 13.38. Well, there's absolutely no reason why I can't show you 13.38 with the luxury of time. So this 13.38. Look at how far we got. Look at how far we got. But just notice my book tabs. My dog ears I placed deliberately. Let's get this back onto my easel. All right, so we're going to make this into one grid, one panel. So individual grid lines are added or deleted to further customize the design. Begin by activating the curtain grid tool in the architectural tab. Architectural curtain grid tool in the architectural tab. In the placement panel, at the right end of the ribbon, click the one segment button. Hover your mouse pointer over the bottom edge of the right center panel and snap to the midpoint of this panel. The right center panel. And snap to the midpoint. Notice there are guides that divide up the panel. Right center panel, midpoint. And snap to the midpoint of the panel. The second step is tricky. You do not continue creating another division in the short panel above the center panel. Instead, press the Escape key or click the Modify tool. To exit the curtain grid command, select the vertical grid line you created in step 1. You may need to press the Tab key until you see the dashed line indicating the curtain grid. Well, it ran the entire gamut. If you look, right mouse click, select mullions along vertical grid. That's all of them. Select this, right mouse click, select mullions on grid line. Well, that is just the one. Now look at all of these, options we have just within the context of selecting it. Notice there's join conditions as well as selecting the mullion. So you're going to have to go through this. You're going to have to go through this, and you're going to have to understand within the context of invoking the tool and selecting element, what options you have at your fingertips to manipulate that object. So select the vertical grid line you created in step 1. You may need to press the Tab key until you see the dashed line indicating the curtain grid. Notice that the grid extends the entire height of the wall. With the curtain grid selected, click the Add Remove Segments button. In the Modify Curtain Grids panel of the Modify tab, pick the segment of the curtain grid that passes through the short panel. Press the Escape key. You should see that the short panel is also split in half. Well, the short panel is right here. Well, within the context of selecting the curtain grid tool, one segment, no, I'm sorry, grab it. Come on, baby, don't make a liar. You have to get, let me do it over here. It's this one. Okay. Alright, so I got it. Now within the context of selecting it, you'll see modify curtain wall grids, add or remove segments. And you can see that the short panel is also cut in half. You can see that the short panel is also cut in half. Activate the mullion tool and place the mullions on the division between the two center panels. Well, it wants us to get rid of it, but it doesn't tell us that. Oh, pick the segments of the curtain grid that pass through the short panel. it wants us to remove it. So we need to remove this segment. If I can get this to behave, and it's not behaving. Once you're out of the view, it doesn't give you the luxury. There it is. Alright, so you have to stay in the view. So remove that segment, and I believe it wants us to remove that segment. And I believe it wants us to remove that segment. That's what I'm seeing in the figure. Activate the mullion tool and place mullions on the division between the two center panels as shown in figure 13.41. Oh, I take that back. It doesn't want us to do that. It wants us to leave this the way it is. This design. Let's just take a look at this. It wants us to remove this panel, this mullion. So let's get the whole thing. Add or remove segments. It wants this one out. It wants this one out. And it looks like it wants this one out. Now, activate the mullion tool and place mullions on divisions between the two center panels as shown in figure 13.41. Well, between the two center panels. Well, the two center panels now become these two. So it should be pretty tricky. It might be easier for me to take a look at the finished product before I go much further. It has a design in mind, and it uses small figures to get you along the way, and you could lose sight of where you are. All right, so just make sure I got this the way it wants. All right, so that's not the way it looks. Let's get this to where this is what it wants us to look like. This one is gone. This one is gone. That one is gone. This one is gone. And this one is gone. Okay. Just follow along. So I just added a segment.
You want a full reference number?
That's gonna be fine. This is more along the lines of what the figure depicts, but it really, it drags you along on a very slow pace, and it gets a little bit confusing. So let's just take a look and see the 4 panels. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is pretty much the look of what it gets us to at the end. It must be a coffee issue. So being that this is streaming live, not on a browser per se, but it is streaming live to Escape, you'll see that your design can be visualized a little more aesthetically pleasing. And we talked about photorealization and the power of Revit, and what it is you're trying to accomplish with Revit. Again, construction documentation, photorealistic visualization are 2 avenues in architecture and engineering. There are 2 avenues. I said I've worked for architects where they want you to do it all. Construction documentation as well as photorealistic visualization. So you better be prepared to be able to do both. And the faster you can do it, the faster you can produce, the better off you'll be, and you'll most likely hang around a little longer. Excuse me, but I like to look at this from lots of different perspectives. All right, so let's just hold that thought and let's continue on. We have a lot to get to. So, understanding the grid, customizing the grid, placing mulligans, removing mulligans, placing doors and curtain panels. In the next exercise of this topic, you will swap one of the curtain panels for a door panel. Door families for curtain walls can be found in the Doors folder of the Revit default library, but they behave differently than regular doors. The height and width of the curtain wall door are driven by the curtain grids, not the type properties of the door. Follow these steps from the Insert tab in the ribbon. Locate the Load from Library panel and click the Load Family button. Navigate to the Doors folder of the Revit default library and load the Door Curtain Wall Double Glass RFA or Door Curtain Wall Double Glass RFA family, the metric. We're not going to do the metric. Again, this is the directory tree. You know how mad I get when you ask me and you raise your hand at chapter 13. If you have to raise your hand again, when I do this, you know how it irritates me. I don't like it. So please, if you haven't figured out where the library is yet, put it on your phone, program it into your brain, tattoo it on your arm, do whatever you gotta do, but please don't ask me again where this is. Anyway, this is just an example of my attitude problem. And so here's doors. Here is the doors subdirectory in the root directory of C, under the subdirectory program data, under the subdirectory Autodesk, under the subdirectory REVIT2020, under the subdirectory libraries, under the subdirectory US Imperial, under the subdirectory doors. This is the network tree mapped to the C root directory of your solid state hard drive or your network server. Anyway, so here we go. We've got plenty of doors. And these are just the ones that come out of the box. You have to remember that manufacturers are required to comply with the legislation as well. as far as what embedded metadata they must include in their products. And you're going to want to work with a manufacturer or a vendor that can provide you with the right tools for the right job. If it's in your catalog and you sell it, well then the industry is going to demand that you have a BIM model to represent it. And everyone's on board. Those in the know are on board. Again, what line of reasoning you subscribe to is purely based on your own perspective. Now, some may know where I've been in my life, and some may not know, but I'm telling you, from my perspective, you know, I was able to keep my ears open. And they say, I tell my kids this, believe everything you see, and half of what you hear. So find the curtain wall double glass. If it's here, curtain wall double glass. Well, this is door double glass. I don't see curtain wall double glass. Oh, it's right in front of my face. It's the coffee. If you can't find these default families, you can download them from this book's webpage, the Cydex website. We talked about that. If you want to catch up, we talked about that. We talked about that. This is the the book's companion website. Right? If you go all the way down to the bottom, you'll see, here's the complete set of data files. Okay? And all of those, everything I've been talking about for the last 13 chapters are coming in, well, I'm pulling it from this instructional book. And I'd like to tell you where I got it from, but it's a text that they issued to students following a curriculum. And anyway, in any event, it's a certification book. I'm certified in this, certified in that. Now, that's up to you. What you want to become certified in. So let's take our time. We have a lot to get to. All right, so now we have this load. We're going to load this double glass exterior door. I'm not going to say this project because I have the custom family saved with all sorts of bells and whistles. All we did was load it. We didn't place it. We didn't place it yet. As you can see, we didn't. Oh, I don't even know if it came in. Hold on, let me double check that. Could have sworn it came in.
You want a full reference number? 646.
Let's try it from this way. See if we can get it this way. I loaded it. It didn't come in. It's making a liar out of me. It's making a liar out of me. Single flush. I must be working with the plumber again. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. It's not coming in. Well, maybe because I haven't had a place to place it yet. Let's just hold that thought. Let's see. Yeah, I'm doing it as part of the directions. But again, these are addressable, so who knows? Zoom into the bottom middle panel of your curtain wall. Bottom middle? We don't have a bottom middle anymore. We don't have a bottom middle. We have a choice now. Okay. Move that segment before it gets trippy. Okay. Door. Type. Load. curtain. And sure enough, it's not coming in. It's not coming in. It's totally shooting us in the water. Zoom into the bottom middle panel of your curtain wall. Delete the mullion under this segment as shown in figure 13.43. You don't want to have a tripping hazard at your door. Remember, you may have to press the tab key to select the mullion. Okay. Well, we've done that. We've done that. Let's get to panel selector. It doesn't give us the option. It doesn't give us the option.
You want a full reference number? 646.
Let's go to the panel, edit type, right? Edit type. Well, we can change it to a wall. There we go, the family. All right, so we could swap out the system panel for the wall we just, the door we just loaded. There's the trick. So there's the door curtain wall double glass. And these are the parameters. And again, there aren't that many, and the analytical construction parameters not set. But if we look at the door analytical properties, we have some options, some thermal properties that will be defined by the material they select for this particular door family, loadable door family that you could have made yourself. So I'm going to go to the default parameters and swap it out. And sure enough, you'll see in plan, and you'll see in the section view that indeed the door did go in place. And that was the trick. So it wasn't, you could just select the door and place it, because there was nowhere to place it. If we would have created that, if we would have done that differently, if we would have undid this and changed this panel, let me get back to where the door is not part of the panel. Looking back in retrospect, if we were to select this panel and edit its type and change, oops, and we could do that right here. Wait. Go to the type selector and just change this to generic brick. We could have then placed a door instance by default in that wall instance. But being that it was a curtain panel, we didn't have that option. So we had to select a panel, and well, what panel type is it? And well, the panel is a family. So if we originally said that it wasn't a panel, it was a wall, we could place a door on it. But being that it's still a panel, we could then change it to something else by family, not by element. So, as you can see, we could have changed it to anything we wanted.
You want a full reference number? 646.
We changed the, if we look at this now in Inkscape, it didn't update. Hold on, let's hold that thought. Why didn't it update? Let's go back to Inkscape. Pause, resume. Well, there's really not much. It just looks like a stack wall, but it's still made of glass. So let's look back at the Inkscape. Nothing seems to have changed. We haven't really changed the parameters of the stacked wall yet. We discussed stacked walls in the last chapter. As you can see, now we look at this wall, You notice glass, we have multiple layers of the wall that we can change the thickness horizontally and vertically. So again, we're combining two lessons into one there. Let's go back to where this panel is just a panel. And this panel is just a panel. Unpin it so we can modify it. Change it out from a system panel family to a double door, a double curtain wall, double glass panel. And then there it is. All right, so we were able to accomplish that. Now, the door swing can be adjusted in plan as with any other door. Again, it's misleading. It's misleading because of its material, surface material. Placing corner mullions. Revit includes special mullions to be used at the corners of curtain walls. These mullion types are unique in that only one is needed to connect two wall segments. In the default project template, you will find 4 corner mullion types as shown in figure 13.45. And that figure I can show you on the internet. Wile E. Coyote. Super genius. Let's see if I can bring it back up. There's a few of them. This one I think will cover the basics, the basic mullions. So in the default project template, we have the V corner mullion, the quad corner mullion, the L corner mullion, and the trapezoid corner mullion. Corner mullions cannot be customized beyond the shapes included in the Revit project template. But these are just shapes. If you look at the profile, just the profile of the extruded mullion, that's what I want you to concentrate on really quick. The profile is just the 2D representation of the extruded mullion. You're not limited to these 4 types, these 4 profiles. Corner mullions cannot be customized beyond the shapes included in the Revit project template. Doesn't mean anything. It means you can create other shapes. We talked about this. We talked about all the different profiles you could sweep along wall reveals. It goes the same with anything. It's 3-dimensional. You could sweep a profile. Remember voids, swept blends as we were massing. If you remember, when we masked in place, or if we haven't gotten to this yet, but I talked about how there's a little slight subtle difference between masking in place and the Revit family editor. You're creating an in-place family to a certain extent with the masking tool, but you can't save it out as a system family or any type of family. So allow us to just go off on a tangent here. If we were going to the family, creating a new family, you'll see that there are patterns and there are types of families that have a lot of parameters built into them for you to start. How these families, where they're going to be hosted, what kind of profile are they going to have, what kind of photometric data, what kind of connectors. So it's going to get a lot more complicated. And I know I make a joke of it, but it's not really a joke. Engineers and architects have had years of discipline ingrained and indoctrinated into their practice because of the level of expertise they have to practice on. I'm nowhere near it. But I'm cognizant of it. Again, I'm not a licensed architect. I'm not a licensed engineer. I'm something else. I'm not going to get into my personality flaws. But we gotta get through this. I have a coordination meeting in the morning in one of the outer boroughs. All right, so placing corner mullions. I got to continue on, but I don't want to deviate from the fact that with these wall articulations, we have to be cognizant of the fact that we have a lot of customization We have a lot of customization abilities. And again, I said profiles, right? Profiles. If we were to load profiles to change these mullion types, there's no reason why you can't create your own profiles. There's no reason why you can't just create your own profile, right? It goes without saying. If you wanted to create a 2D profile of something, to create some complex mullion system, well, there's nothing saying you couldn't create your own 2D profile. Save it out and sweep this around a revolved surface, or revolve it around a surface. So I just want to get the family editor going with a generic roof-based generic, just a generic model. Here it is. Ceiling, adaptive. It's always easier to start with a generic model. Here it is. As in a family. And you'll remember, the interface changes. You know, we can sweep, blend, along profiles, if you remember. This is a very powerful tool. And I'm just going to reiterate this for those who may have been asleep at the switch. So you can revolve a profile around an axis. This is 3D modeling. Again, Boolean algebra. I hate to sound like a nerd. My kids even say, "You think you're so smart. You're ignorant. You're ignorant." And they get mad at me. And I yell at them, "Oh, you disrespect your father." Blah, blah, blah. But they're good kids, so I'm not going to argue with those children. They're good kids. I am so fortunate. I'm so fortunate. I mean, they're bad. Don't get me wrong. They're just as bad as the rest of them, but they're good. They're good in the same respect. I take a lot of heat from those buggers, those little rugrats. I take a lot of heat from them. So anyway, you can see there's more to this than meets the eye. Okay? There's more to this than meets the eye. So let's just get out of this family editor by closing all the views that are open with it. Because we still have the family open. If you look, let's see, simple curtain wall. If I hit tab, let's make sure I don't have any open family editors. No, I don't. But again, don't think for a second I haven't deviated from where we are in the process. I haven't. I just been spoon feeding you the information. We have a lot to do, and we don't have the luxury of having our staff in one place. It's almost. I'm not going to get there. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to tangent. Let's just hold that thought. All right. So now we're back in the mullion tutorial. We have to get through this. It's complex. Placing corner mullions. Corner mullions cannot be customized beyond the shapes included in the REVIT project template. However, you can modify the material assigned to the mullions as well as the offset and depth dimensions in the type properties. Well, that's good. The depth dimensions. Well, it's 1.25 inches square, right? In profile, in depth, something different. That would be its overall run. It's linear, or it's it's a French curve, if you will. Okay, so before you place a corner mullion, make sure the endpoints of the two curtain wall segments are cleanly connected. You can drag the endpoint controls of the walls or use the trim extend to corner tool. Now again, if you want to reiterate that tool, we can do that really quick. Trim to corner. So if we have architecture and we have a wall and we have a curtain wall, we have one this way. And we do it again. The tool that they mentioned was the trim extend or drag to endpoints. So you could still drag to endpoints to clean it up. They have to join. They have to join, right? Now that's not cleaned up. But you go to modify, and you go to trim extend, single element, trims or extends one element such as a wall, line, or beam to a boundary defined by another element. Well, if I select that first, wait, select a line or wall to trim extend to on the part you want to keep. Okay. So again, just to practice the tool on the part you want to keep. Select a reference as the trim extend boundary. Well, this is the wall, the curtain wall delineation line. It's core, if you will. And this can be a tricky tool with certain elements. So select the side you want to keep. Select the trim line. Click a wall on the part you want to keep. And it's not trimming up. So it's not doing what I want it to do. Well, aligning it, you can see it aligns to the core if you use the align tool. But it's saying, the book's saying, you can drag the endpoint controls of the walls or use the trim extend to corner tool. Well, trim extend to corner, this trim extend single element, trim extend multi-elements, wall joints. We talked about this. Trim extend to corner. Trims or extends elements, just walls or beams, to form a corner. When selecting an element to trim, click on the part of the element to retain. So let's look in the status bar when we do this. Select the first line of wall to trim, extend. Click on the part you want to keep. Well, that's the wall. You have to hover over its delineation line. And I don't want to call it the delineation line. I don't want to call it. It's the overall curtain wall definition. That's the dashed line is the overall curtain wall definition line. And it's offset. It's glass and it's panes and it's mullions. All of those dimensions are offset from there. So you have to have the curtain wall definition line. Now in this event, it's not the way I want to demonstrate it. I want it to just be haphazard, like you did it really fast, like I usually do it, until I have time to reciprocate. So, extend trim to corner. Click on the part you want to keep. Select the second line of wall to trim to extend. Click on the part you want to keep. Well, it's very difficult to select it. You see how it only used its intersection as a cut plane. So we undo that and cancel out the command. Do it again. It's only one entity at a time. So click on the side you want to keep. Select the second line of wall to trim or extend. Click on the part you want to keep. You have to go through this again until you perfect the tool. Select the first line or wall to trim, extend. Click on the part you want to keep. Select the second line or wall to extend. Click on the part you want to keep. There. So it's a double click. It's a double click. But again, trim, extend to corner. Works for curtain walls as well. I'm not getting it to function. Make sure it's going to function. Trim, extend to corner. Trim, extend single element. Right. You select the reference as a boundary. You select the element to trim or extend. So it has to cross its cutting plane. And you can tab through each element. And there, that's a little better. So it can be a little goofy. You gotta get to the face that you want. And you'll see it'll extend or trim based on the face you select or the tangent line. It's tangent line. So if we, again, select the reference line as the extent boundary. Oops. I'm going to sneeze. There you go. All right, so again, it's a long way to go for that one tool tip. But again, I don't want to breeze over these as the types of tools you're going to run to. Go, oh, how does that tool work? You have to go back and do it again and again and again. There are hundreds and thousands of tools. Hundreds of thousands. So I'm going to sneeze. It's coming on. You get that feeling? I'm going to sneeze. So before you place a corner mullion, make sure the endpoints of the two curtain wall segments are cleanly connected. You can drag the endpoints controls of the walls or use the trim extend to corner tool. To place a corner mullion, simply use the mullion tool and select one of the corner edges of either wall of the segments. If you have already placed a regular mullion at the end of a curtain wall segment, select the mullions along the vertical edge and then use the type selector to choose the corner mullion type. Well, we have done that here, but we haven't done it on this new wall. So remember that you can use the context menu, right-click and select mullions on grid line to make the selection easy. Select mullions on grid lines to make the selection easy. Well, I don't believe that's the way to go, way to approach this. I think that we should go to architecture and go to mullion and select the curtain grid line to place mullion. None of the created elements are visible in floor plan level 1 view. You may want to check the active views, parameters, and visibility settings, as well as any plane regions and their settings. Well, that could very well be. Let's take a look at the 3D view. It's at 20 feet. Of course we can't see it. So we added the mullion to this vertical, to this wall at the top. At the top. Now, and it's a rectangular mullion. It's a rectangular mullion. Remember that you can use the context menu and click select mullions on grid line to make the selection easy. Well, it didn't sweep it around. So you can select the right mouse click button and select mullions on horizontal grid. Select mullion, or this is to select the mullion. We didn't place the mullion, so that will help us when we select it, right? So that kind of sends us on a wild goose chase. But this was something I wanted to just touch on. If I click this wall and I hit Control and I click this one, right mouse click, select joined elements. Well, We're gonna further explore that in a second, because I actually have to cut this video short. If you don't mind, I have to utilize the men's room. So, continue waking up. It's only 5:30. Half of them aren't even awake yet, right? Half these folks that go through life in a daze, they don't know what it takes. They really don't know what it takes. And I don't want to pat myself on the back. They don't know what it takes. Granted, sure. I mean, you can measure me by my bank account if you want, and you may find in life you've been able to gather more gold. But I'm not judging myself on that. I wish I could, but I'm not. I have a different set of parameters I'm trying to adhere to, and cost right now isn't one of them. It's the most important one. It's the bottom line, and I'm probably a bit misguided because of that fact. But again, if you look at it from this point of perspective, it's based on time. Money is time. I'm 51. I'm 51. And I want to reiterate this. Or time at 64. Will you have your faculties at 64? You know what? If you're looking at that number, counting down the days on the calendar, so that you can go sit around and do nothing all day, well then guess what? You're going to sit around and do nothing all day. And that nest egg that you've accumulated over those years, well, I hope you invest it wisely. Because again, Social Security has a ticket to work program, and you can only make so much. You can only make so much. Doesn't mean you have to retire. It means you only make so much as an individual. As an entity, or corporation, or limited liability, or partnership, or cooperative, or tenancy in common, a tenancy in the entirety, tenancy in sufferance. Right. You understand what I'm saying? Triple net leases. All right, so let's just not get crazy with all of our Social Security money just yet. Because remember, you can't take it with you.